Captain Lee Daeho stood on the bridge of the human warship Iron Mountain, watching the stars through the main screen. The ship was huge, made of dark metal that could survive almost anything. Like all human ships, it looked mean and scary compared to the pretty colorful ships other alien races built. Daeho had been fighting in space for 20 years. His face showed many scars from old battles. Other humans respected him, but aliens were afraid of him. They called humans Deathworlders because Earth was such a dangerous planet that only the strongest could live there. "Captain," said Commander Park Ji-woo from her station. She was the ship's tactical officer, which meant she planned how to fight battles. "We're getting a signal from the Veltharan Republic." The Veltharans were a peaceful alien race that looked like living crystals. They were very smart and built amazing technology, but they were not fighters. Most aliens in the galaxy liked them because they never hurt anyone. "Put it on the main screen," Daeho ordered. The screen changed to show a Veltharan. Its crystal body was cracked and dim like a broken light bulb. Behind it, Daeho could see buildings on fire and ships exploding in space. "Please, anyone who can hear this," the Veltharan said in its musical voice. "The Krulek's horde is attacking our home system. They have hundreds of ships. We cannot stop them. The Galactic Council has already given up on us. They said we are a lost cause." The Veltharan's voice got quieter and sadder. "We have heard stories about the human fleet. They say you come from a death world. They say you fight in ways others cannot. Please, if you are listening, we need your help. We will all die if no one comes." The signal ended. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone looked at Daeho, waiting to see what he would do. "How many ships do we have?" Daeho asked Ji-woo. 12 ships in our patrol fleet, sir. The Iron Mountain, 2 other big ships, 6 smaller attack ships, and 3 support ships. Engineer Kim Tae-min looked up from his station. He was a young man who understood all the ship's weapons and engines better than anyone. "Sir, our sensors show about 300 Krulek ships in that system. That's 25 to 1 against us." Dr. Choi So-ra, the ship's doctor, stepped forward. She was not just a doctor, but also studied alien life forms. "The Kruleks are warriors, Captain. They travel from system to system, taking everything they can and killing everyone they meet. They eat other races to make themselves stronger." Daeho nodded slowly. He had heard of the Kruleks before. They were one of the most feared races in the galaxy. Most alien species just ran away when they heard the Kruleks were coming. "Sir," said Lieutenant Han Min-soo from the communication station, "I'm getting messages from other ships in our fleet. They all heard the signal too. They're waiting for orders." Daeho walked to the big window that showed space outside. He could see the other human ships nearby. Each one was built for war with thick armor and powerful weapons. The humans had learned to build their ships this way because Earth had taught them that life was dangerous. The Galactic Council already said, "The Veltharans are lost," said Commander Ji-woo. "Council rules say we should not fight battles we cannot win. The Council is full of species that never had to fight for their lives," Daeho replied. "They don't understand what it means to protect others." He turned back to his crew. "Let me tell you something about humans. We come from a world where everything tries to kill you. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the ground under your feet. But we didn't just survive. We became the strongest species on our planet." The crew listened carefully. They all knew this story, but hearing it again made them feel proud. "Other alien races evolved on safe, easy worlds," Daeho continued. "When they fight, they follow rules. They try to be honorable. They give up when things get too hard." He pointed at the screen that still showed the burning Veltharan system. "But we learned different rules on Earth. We learned that sometimes you have to fight monsters to protect the people you care about. We learned that the only way to stop a bully is to hit back harder." Engineer Tae-min spoke up. "Sir, even if we could win against 300 ships, the Council will be angry. They don't like it when we use our real weapons. They say our fighting methods are too violent." "Let them be angry," Daeho said. "The Veltharans asked for our help. They're not asking us to follow Council rules. They're asking us to do what humans do best." Dr. Sora looked worried. What about our own people? If we lose all 12 ships, Earth loses some of its best captains and crews. Deho smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile a wolf makes before it attacks. Doctor, do you remember what we learned in military school about human pack behavior? Yes, sir. Humans will fight much harder to protect others than to protect themselves. That's right. And do you remember what happens when you threaten a human's pack? The doctor nodded slowly. The human becomes extremely dangerous. The Veltharans are peaceful people who never hurt anyone, Deho said. The Kruleks are killing them just because they can. In my book, that makes the Veltharans part of our pack now. He walked back to his captain's chair and sat down. Lieutenant Han, open a channel to all ships in the fleet. Channel open, sir. This is Captain Lee Deho of the Iron Mountain to all human ships. You heard the Veltharan distress call. You know the odds. I'm not ordering anyone to come with us. This is volunteer only. He paused, looking around at his bridge crew. They all nodded at him. But I'm going to tell you something, he continued. We didn't crawl out of the gravity well of a death world just to let bullies pick on our neighbors. The galaxy is full of species that run away from fights. Let them run. We're humans. We don't run from monsters. We kill them. The communications officer started getting messages from the other ships. Sir, all 11 ships report ready to follow. Your orders. Commander Jiwoo smiled. Orders, Captain? Deho stood up and pointed at the navigation station. Set course for the Veltharan system. Maximum speed. Sir, said the navigator, that will put us there in 6 hours. Good. That gives us time to prepare. He looked at Engineer Taemin. I want all weapons ready. Load the special ammunition, the kind the Council doesn't know about. Taemin grinned. The gravity bombs, sir? Everything we've got. Jiwoo, I want you to prepare Protocol Deathworld. The tactical officer's eyes got wide. Protocol Deathworld was a fighting plan that was so violent, the human military only used it against the worst enemies. Are you sure, sir? Once we use that, the whole galaxy will know what humans are really capable of. Good, Deho said. Maybe it's time they learned. As the Iron Mountain and its fleet jumped into hyperspace, heading toward a battle they probably could not win, Deho thought about Earth. His home world was a beautiful but deadly place that had created the most dangerous species in the galaxy. How 12 human ships were going to show 300 alien ships what that really meant. The Kruleks had no idea what was coming for them. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Veltharan system. What they saw made even the battle-hardened crew members feel sick. Krulek ships surrounded the beautiful crystal cities of the Veltharans like hungry wolves around sheep. The alien warships were ugly and black, covered in spikes and weapons. They were built for one purpose: to destroy and consume everything they found. My God, whispered Dr. Choi Sora as she watched the main screen. Giant Kruleks vessels were using huge machines to crack open the crystal cities and suck out the living Veltharans inside. They're eating them alive. Captain Lee Deho's face was like stone, but his hands were tight on his chair. How many Kruleks ships? Sensors show 297 enemy ships, reported Commander Park Ji-woo. They have us surrounded. We're trapped in the middle of their fleet. Engineer Kim Taemin looked at his screens. Sir, they haven't noticed us yet. All their attention is on the Veltharan cities. We could still escape. No, Deho said quietly. Send the signal. Lieutenant. Han Minsu pressed some buttons. Across the system, every ship and every radio started playing the same message. It was in the human language, but computers translated it for all the aliens to understand. This is Captain Lee Deho of the human fleet to all Krulek ships. You are attacking innocent people. Stop now and leave this system or we will stop you. The Krulek's fleet went quiet for a moment. Then loud, horrible laughter came over the radio. A deep, scary voice answered back. Humans. The little Deathworlders have come to play. I am War Chief Gorthak of the Great Krulek's Horde. You have 12 tiny ships against my 300 mighty warriors. Run home to your rock of a planet or we will eat you too. More laughter came from hundreds of Krulek ships. They thought it was funny that humans would try to fight them. Captain Deho stood up slowly. Jiwoo, activate Protocol Deathworld. Yes, sir. Commander Jiwoo's fingers moved quickly over her control station. All human ships, this is Iron Mountain Command. Protocol Deathworld is now active. Repeat, Protocol Deathworld is active. Across the human fleet, things started happening that would give nightmares to peaceful alien species. Weapons that were hidden inside the ships came online. Special ammunition was loaded. Most importantly, the human ships started broadcasting something that made the Krulek stop laughing. On every screen in the system, videos started playing. They showed humans fighting throughout their history. Soldiers in old wars, pilots in dangerous battles, people fighting against impossible odds and winning. But these were not clean, honorable fights like other alien species had. These were brutal, violent, and terrifying. War. Chief Gorthak watched the videos on his ship's screen. He saw human soldiers fighting in conditions that would kill most aliens. He saw human ships using weapons that other species thought were too cruel to build. He saw humans who kept fighting even when they were badly hurt. What kind of species is this? He asked his officers. The humans come from Earth, said one of his advisors, looking at a data pad. Their planet has gravity twice as strong as most worlds. The weather tries to kill them every day. Most of the animals are dangerous, even their plants are poisonous. Gorthak growled. He had heard stories about Deathworlders, but he thought they were just tales to scare young Krulek's warriors. On the Iron Mountain, Engineer Taman reported to the captain. Sir, all ships report ready. Gravity mines are armed and positioned. Nuclear warheads are loaded. Cyber warfare systems are online. The Galactic Council had banned most of these weapons years ago. They said such things were too dangerous and cruel. But humans had never agreed to get rid of them. They just promised not to use them unless something terrible happened. Sir, said Dr. Sora, I'm reading Veltharan life signs in several of the crystal cities. There are still survivors. Then we get them out, Deho said. All ships, begin attack pattern Alpha. Show them what humans learned on Earth. The first human attack was not what anyone expected. Instead of flying straight at the enemy like brave but stupid warriors, the human ships split up and moved in ways that seemed crazy. 3 human ships flew directly into a cloud of space debris that would tear apart most vessels, but human ships were built to survive asteroid storms and solar flares. The debris that destroyed Krulek sensors and weapons just bounced off human armor. Impossible, shouted Gorthak as the human ships disappeared into the debris field. No ship can fly through that. 2 minutes later, his 3 largest battleships exploded. The humans had flown through the debris, fired gravity bombs at close range, and escaped before the Kruleks could react. Lieutenant Shin Ye-wan led a squadron of human fighter craft in an attack that made other aliens think humans were insane. Her small ships flew in patterns that used Earth's chaotic weather and gravity to confuse enemy targeting systems. This is Fighter Squadron Alpha to all human ships. Her voice crackled over the radio. We're starting our run. Keep those big ships busy for us. Her fighters dove toward a group of Krulek ships at speeds that should have turned her pilots into paste. But humans evolved on a world with strong gravity and violent storms. What would kill other aliens just made humans better fighters. The fighters released small missiles that looked harmless compared to the huge energy weapons the Kruleks were using. But these missiles contained something special. Computer viruses designed by humans who had learned to hack systems while being attacked by their own planet's electronic storms. 12. Krulek's ships suddenly found their own weapons turning around and shooting at their friends. The viruses spread through their fleet like a disease, making their ships attack each other instead of the humans. Sergeant Nam Ki-ho led a team of human marines in the most dangerous job of all. Their small ship flew right into the middle of the Krulek's fleet and attached itself to one of their biggest vessels. Boarding party ready, Ki-ho reported to Captain Deho. Beginning infiltration. The human marines cut through the Krulek ship's hull using tools that worked in the vacuum of space. When they got inside, they moved through the ship in ways that seemed impossible to the Krulek's defenders. Humans had learned to fight in zero gravity by training in Earth's deep oceans and high mountains. They could move and shoot in conditions that made other species helpless. More importantly, they fought as a team, watching each other's backs and coordinating their attacks like a pack of wolves. The Krulek's warriors were individually stronger than humans, but they had never faced enemies who used such brutal and effective tactics. The human Marines took control of the ship's bridge in 15 minutes and turned its weapons against the Krulek's fleet. Back on the Iron Mountain, Commander Jiwoo watched her tactical display as the battle developed. "Sir, we've destroyed 31 enemy ships and captured 2 more. Our losses are 0. The Kruleks are regrouping," reported the sensor officer. "They're pulling back from the crystal cities and forming a battle line." War Chief Gorthak's voice came over the radio again, but now he sounded angry instead of amused. "Clever humans, you fight without honor like cowards and thieves." Captain Daeho picked up his communication device. "This is Captain Lee Daeho to War Chief Gorthak. You're killing innocent people and eating them alive. Don't talk to us about honor. We are warriors. We take what we need to survive." "And we're humans," Daeho replied. "We protect what we care about. There's a difference." On his tactical display, Daeho could see the remaining Krulek ships forming up for a massive attack. There were still over 250 enemy vessels, and they were no longer underestimating the human fleet. "All ships," he broadcast to his fleet, "prepare for the real fight. They know we're dangerous now. Jiwoo, activate the gravity mines." In space around the Krulek's fleet, invisible devices that had been floating like pieces of debris suddenly turned on. They were human gravity mines, weapons that could create small black holes for just a few seconds. The technology was so advanced that most alien species thought it was impossible. 15 Krulek ships were caught in the gravity fields and crushed instantly. The other ships pulled back in fear, but now they were bunched together in a tight formation. "Perfect," said Engineer Taemin with a smile. "They're exactly where we want them." The human fleet began to move forward in a pattern that looked almost like a dance. Each ship knew exactly where the others would be and what they would do. This kind of coordination was only possible because humans had learned to work together to survive on their dangerous home world. As the Iron Mountain led the attack, Captain Daeho thought about the Veltherin distress signal. The crystal beings had asked for help, and humans had answered. Now the Kruleks were learning what happened when someone threatened a species that humans decided to protect. The real battle was about to begin. War Chief Gorthak stared at his tactical display with growing horror. In just 2 hours of fighting, the humans had destroyed over 60 of his ships while losing none of their own. His warriors, who had conquered dozens of star systems, were afraid. "How are they doing this?" he demanded of his advisors. "They have only 12 ships." His science officer, a thin Krulek named Vorthak, checked his datapad with shaking claws. "War Chief, they're not fighting like any species we've encountered. They use weapons and tactics that other races consider forbidden." On the display, another group of Krulek ships exploded as human gravity mines activated around them. The humans had somehow planted these invisible traps throughout the battle zone without anyone noticing. "They're like ghosts," whispered one of Gorthak's captains. "They appear, kill our ships, and vanish before we can fight back." Aboard the Iron Mountain, Admiral Yoon Hyejin materialized on the bridge as a hologram. She was commanding a fleet of reinforcement ships that were still hours away. "Captain Daeho," she said, "I'm watching your battle through the long-range sensors. Impressive work, but you're still outnumbered 20-1. "Yes, Admiral, but they don't understand what they're fighting," Daeho replied. "The Kruleks think in terms of individual combat and ship-to-ship duels. They've never faced coordinated pack tactics." Dr. Choi Sora looked up from her medical station. "Admiral, I've been studying the Krulek's psychology during the battle. They're showing signs of confusion and fear. Their morale is breaking down." "Admiral," Yijin nodded. "Good. I'm transmitting new intelligence data to your ship. We've discovered something interesting about the Krulek's horde." The data appeared on the main screen. It showed star charts and battle reports from the edge of the galaxy. Commander Park Jiwoo studied the information carefully. "Sir, according to this data, the Kruleks aren't really conquerors," she said with surprise. "They're refugees. Something destroyed most of their homeworlds. They've been running and fighting." For survival, engineer Kim Taemin pulled up more data. Look at this. Their ships are damaged and patched together from dozens of different technologies. They're not a mighty war fleet. They're desperate survivors trying to stay alive. Captain Daeho felt a moment of sympathy, but then he looked at the screen showing the Veltheran cities under attack. That doesn't excuse what they're doing to innocent people. Dr. Sora had connected her medical computers to the ship's main database. Captain, I've been analyzing the Veltheran crystal technology. Their bodies are actually living computers. If we could interface their systems with our tactical networks? You think we can work together? Daeho asked. More than that, sir. The Veltherans could amplify our coordination and reaction times. Combined with human tactics, it could create a fighting force unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. On his ship, War Chief Gorthak was dealing with a new problem. His warriors were reporting strange signals coming through their communication systems. The humans were broadcasting something that sounded like music, but it was having a terrible effect on Krulek's morale. What is that noise? Gorthak demanded. Science Officer Vorthak's voice was shaking. War Chief, it's recordings of battles where these humans defeated other enemies. But they're not just showing victories. They're showing what they do to species that hurt innocent people. The broadcast showed human ships hunting down pirate fleets and destroying them completely. They showed human marines rescuing captured civilians from slave ships. Most terrifyingly, they showed humans keeping their promises to protect weaker species, no matter what the cost. Turn it off, Gorthak roared. We can't, War Chief. They're overriding all our communication systems. Every warrior in the fleet is hearing this. Lieutenant Shin Yawan was leading her fighter squadron in a new type of attack. Working with surviving Veltherans, her pilots had learned to use crystal technology to see the battle in ways that seemed magical. This is incredible, she reported to Captain Daeho. The Veltheran crystals let us process information faster than our brains normally can. I can see where every enemy ship will be before they even start moving. Her fighters moved through the Krulek's fleet like they were dancing. Enemy weapons couldn't hit them because the pilots knew where the shots would be fired before the gunners pulled their triggers. Sergeant Nam Kiho was leading boarding parties on 3 different Krulek ships at the same time. His Marines had learned to use Veltheran crystal technology to coordinate their movements perfectly. Sir, this is amazing, he reported. The crystals link our minds together. We're fighting as one organism instead of individual soldiers. The combination of human pack tactics and Veltheran technology was creating a new form of warfare. The humans provided the strategic thinking and aggressive instincts, while the Veltherans provided computing power and coordination that made the fleet move like a single living creature. Admiral Hyejin watched the battle from her distant command ship with amazement. Captain, you're not just winning this battle. You're revolutionizing military tactics. War Chief Gorthak was running out of options. His fleet was down to less than 200 ships, and they were trapped in a system with enemies who seemed to know their every move before they made it. War Chief, said Captain Nexthack from one of the surviving battleships, perhaps we should consider retreat. We could find easier targets elsewhere. No, Gorthak roared. If we run from these humans, word will spread throughout the galaxy. Every species will think the Krulek's horde is weak. We will have no more worlds to conquer, no more food to eat. We fight here or we die as a species. But even as he spoke, Gorthak knew his warriors were losing their will to fight. The humans had done something that no enemy had ever accomplished. They had made the Kruleks afraid. Dr. Choi Sora made another discovery that changed everything. Captain, I've been analyzing the Krulek's communications. They're not just warriors. They have families, children, civilian populations, and ships throughout their fleet. What are you saying, Doctor? I'm saying they're not evil monsters, sir. They're a dying species trying to survive the only way they know how. The warrior ships we're fighting are protecting thousands of non-combatants. Captain Daeho looked at the tactical display showing the ongoing battle. His human fleet was winning, but now he understood what victory would really mean. If they destroyed the Krulek's fleet completely, they would be killing not just warriors but entire families. Admiral Hyejin, he said to the hologram, I need to try something different. What do you have in mind, Captain? Something that humans do better than any other species in the galaxy, he replied. We're going to give our enemies a choice. He turned to Lieutenant Han Minsu. Open a channel to War Chief Gorthak, all frequencies. Channel open, sir. War Chief Gorthak, this is Captain Lee Dae-ho. I want to talk to you about survival. There was a long pause before Gorthak's angry voice came back. You want to offer terms for our surrender? No, Dae-ho said calmly. I want to offer you something better than surrender. I want to offer you a chance to join the pack. The entire battle seemed to stop as both fleets waited to hear what would happen next. Even the Veltharans in their crystal cities stopped broadcasting their fear and listened. You're strange creatures, humans, Gorthak finally said. What do you mean by join the pack? I mean stop fighting us and start fighting with us, Dae-ho replied. You're warriors without a home. We're protectors who could use good fighters. The galaxy is full of real monsters. Help us fight them instead of becoming them. The offer hung in space between the two fleets, like a bridge that could lead to peace or be burned in continued war. Everything that happened next would determine not just who won this battle, but what kind of species humans and Kruleks would become. War-Chief Gorthak looked around his bridge at his officers and warriors. They were exhausted, afraid, and running out of hope. But in the human captain's words, he heard something he hadn't expected. Respect for their fighting ability, and an offer of purpose beyond mere survival. The fate of 3 species now hung in the balance. War Chief Gorthak stood silent on his bridge for long minutes while both fleets waited. His officers watched him carefully, knowing that whatever he decided would determine if their species lived or died. Human Captain, Gorthak finally said, you speak of joining your pack, but how can we trust each other? My warriors have killed thousands. Your people call us monsters. Captain Lee Dae-ho looked at the tactical display showing the positions of both fleets. War Chief, let me tell you something about humans. We judge people not by what they were, but by what they choose to become. On the bridge of the stealth, destroyer Shadow of Soul, Captain Oh Seung-ho listened to the conversation through his ship's advanced sensors. His vessel was invisible to both Kruleks and human detection systems, positioned deep inside the enemy fleet. Sir, his intelligence officer reported quietly, I'm picking up interesting data from the Krulek ships. They have civilian populations aboard their vessels. Families, children, elderly. This isn't just a war fleet. Captain O spoke into his secure communication system. Iron Mountain, this is Shadow of Soul. I have visual confirmation of Kruleks, non-combatants. Estimated 30,000 civilians spread throughout their fleet. Dr. Lim Yu-jin, the fleet's expert on alien psychology, was studying data from her position on Admiral Yoon Hye-jin's command ship. Captain Dae-ho, she transmitted. My analysis shows the Kruleks have a pack mentality similar to humans, but based on strength rather than cooperation. If we can show them a better way to be strong. War Chief Gorthak's voice came over the communication system again. Human Captain, you say you judge by what we choose to become. But what if my warriors cannot change? What if we are too damaged by war to be anything but killers? Then you'll fit right in with us, Dae-ho replied. Humans are killers too, War Chief. The difference is we choose what we kill. We kill threats to innocent people. We kill bullies who hurt the weak. We kill monsters who destroy what should be protected. Aboard the Krulek's flagship, Science Officer Vorthak pulled up data about human military history. War Chief, look at this. The humans have integrated former enemies into their forces many times. They fought wars against other human nations, then became allies. They even work with artificial intelligences that once tried to destroy them. Captain Nexthak, commander of one of the surviving Krulek's battleships, spoke up. The humans fight like us, but with purpose beyond survival. They protect others instead of just taking what they need. Gorthak growled thoughtfully. Show me proof, human captain. Show me that your pack accepts warriors who have done terrible things. On the Iron Mountain, Sergeant Nam Kiho stepped forward. Sir, request permission to share my service record with the Kruleks. Dae-ho nodded. Go ahead, Sergeant. Nam Kiho's personal data appeared on screens throughout both fleets. It showed a man who had been a criminal in his youth, fighting in illegal, wars and doing terrible things for money. But it also showed how he had changed when he joined the human military, becoming a protector instead of a destroyer. I killed innocent people for profit, Nam Kiho said over the open channel. The human military gave me a chance to kill guilty people for justice instead. It made all the difference. Dr. Choi Sora added her own story. I used to create biological weapons that could kill entire planets. Now I use that knowledge to cure diseases and heal wounded soldiers. The humans taught me that the same skills can destroy or protect, depending on how you choose to use them. Engineer Kim Tae-min spoke up as well. I built bombs that destroyed cities during the Mars Rebellion. Now I build shields that protect colonies from asteroid strikes. The captain gave me a chance to build instead of destroy. War Chief Gorthak listened to these stories with growing amazement. Your pack is made of former criminals and killers. Our pack is made of people who chose to become better than they were, Captain Daeho replied. That's what makes us strong. Lieutenant Shin Yewon was still flying her fighter patrol when she noticed something on her sensors. Captain, I'm detecting movement at the edge of the system. Multiple ships coming out of hyperspace. The tactical display updated to show new vessels arriving, but these weren't human reinforcements. They were something much worse. Sir, Commander, Park Ji-woo said with alarm, those are Devourers. 3 massive bioships, estimated crew of 50,000 each. They must have followed the Krulek's fleet here. The Devourers were one of the most feared species in the galaxy. They were living ships that consumed entire star systems, turning planets into nutrients for their massive bodies. Unlike the Kruleks, who at least left some survivors, the Devourers ate everything, including the planets themselves. War. Chief Gorthak's voice came over the communication system with pure terror. No, not here, not now, the Devourers found us. War Chief, Captain Daeho said urgently, are these the creatures that destroyed your homeworlds? Yes. We've been running from them for 50 years. They consume everything, nothing can stop them. Dr. Lim Yu-jin's psychological analysis appeared on Captain Daeho's screen. Sir, this explains everything. The Kruleks aren't conquerors. They're refugees fleeing from a threat that makes them look peaceful by comparison. The 3 Devourer bioships were enormous, each one the size of a small moon. They moved slowly but steadily toward the inner system, extending huge tentacles that could grab and consume entire fleets. Admiral Yoon Haijin's hologram appeared on the bridge. Captain, my reinforcement fleet is still 4 hours away. Those Devourer ships will reach the Veltheran homeworld in 2 hours. Sir, Engineer Taemin said while checking his weapon systems, our gravity bombs might slow them down, but those bioships can regenerate damage faster than we can inflict it. Captain Oh Seung-ho's voice came from the stealth ship. Iron Mountain, I've completed my analysis of the Krulek's fleet. Their ships are damaged, but they have some interesting weapons we've never seen before. Bioenergy disruptors that might actually hurt the Devourers. War Chief Gorthak made a decision that would change everything. Human Captain, my fleet will fight beside yours against the Devourers. Not because we trust you, but because we have a common enemy. Understood, War Chief. All human ships prepare to coordinate with Krulek's vessels. This is no longer about winning a battle. This is about survival. The combined human Krulek's fleet began to move toward the approaching Devourers. It was one of the strangest sights in galactic history. Former enemies working together against a threat that could destroy them all. Sergeant Nam Kiho led a team of Marines to one of the Krulek's battleships. This is weird, he reported to Captain Daeho. The Krulek's warriors are actually excited to fight beside us. They say humans fight like their ancient heroes used to fight. Dr. Choi Sora was working with Krulek's medical officers to share tactical data. Captain, the Kruleks have been studying Devourer biology for decades. Combined with our weapons technology and Veltheran computational support, we might actually have a chance. The Veltherans in their crystal cities were no longer just victims, waiting to be rescued. Using their living computer abilities, they began coordinating the defense of their system with both human tactical doctrine and Krulek's warrior instincts. This is impossible, said the lead Veltharan scientist over the communication system. 3 different species working as one mind. The computational possibilities are incredible. As the combined fleet approached the Devourers, Captain Deho realized that something unprecedented was happening. 3 completely different species, each with their own strengths, were becoming a single fighting force. The humans provided tactical coordination and advanced weapons. The Kruleks provided raw fighting power and knowledge of Devourer weaknesses. The Veltherans provided computing power that linked everything together into one enormous intelligence. War Chief Gorthak, Captain Deho said, ready to show these Devourers what a real pack can do? Ready, human captain, let us hunt together. The battle for the survival of 3 civilizations was about to begin. The 3 Devourer bioships moved through space like living mountains, each one pulsing with evil life. Their massive tentacles reached out toward the Veltharan homeworld, preparing to consume an entire civilization. Captain Lee Deho stood on the bridge of the Iron Mountain, watching as his combined fleet of humans, Kruleks, and Veltharans prepared for the most important battle in their species' history. All ships report ready, sir, Commander Park Jiwoo announced. Human vessels are coordinating with Kruleks battleships. The Veltharans are providing tactical computing for the entire fleet. War Chief Gorthak's voice came over the communication system. Human captain, my warriors are eager to fight, but these Devourers have destroyed hundreds of our worlds. Are you certain your plan will work? War Chief, I'm not certain of anything, Deho replied honestly. But I know one thing for sure. When different species work together, they can accomplish things that seem impossible. The largest Devourer began extending massive feeding tentacles toward the nearest Veltharan crystal city. Each tentacle was as big as a human warship and covered in mouths that could chew through solid metal. Dr. Choi Sora monitored the bio readings from her medical station. Sir, the Devourer ships are pure predators. They have no technology as we understand it. They are the technology. Living weapons that evolved to consume entire star systems. Engineer Kim Tae-min checked his weapon systems one last time. Sir, our gravity bombs are ready, but I'm not sure they'll work the same way on living tissue. Then we adapt, Captain Deho said. That's what humans do best. Lieutenant Shin, are your fighters ready? Lieutenant Shin Yewan's voice came from her fighter craft. Ready, sir. The Veltharan crystals are letting us see the Devourer's nervous systems. We can identify weak points that the creatures don't even know they have, Captain Oh Sung-ho reported from his stealth position. Iron Mountain, I'm detecting something interesting. The Devourers communicate through bioelectrical signals. If we could disrupt those signals, the creatures would lose coordination, finished Dr. Lim Yu-jin from Admiral Yoon Hee-jin's command ship. Captain, I recommend we target their communication centers first. The combined fleet began its attack with a strategy that no single species could have developed alone. Human ships provided long-range firepower, Kruleks vessels delivered devastating close combat strikes, and Veltharan crystal technology coordinated everything with perfect timing. Sergeant Nam Ki-ho led a boarding party onto the smallest Devourer bioship. This is the strangest thing I've ever done, he reported as his Marines cut through living flesh instead of metal armor. The ship is trying to heal itself around our weapons. Use the bioenergy disruptors the Kruleks gave us, Captain Deho ordered. Those should prevent regeneration. The boarding party fought their way through corridors made of muscle and bone, heading for what the Veltharans had identified as the creature's brain center. Working beside them were Kruleks warriors who had been fighting these monsters for 50 years. Human warriors fight well, admitted Captain Nexthack of the Kruleks fleet. They show no fear of the Devourer's tricks. The battle in space was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human gravity bombs created small black holes that disrupted the Devourer's biological functions. Kruleks' bioenergy weapons prevented the massive creatures from healing their wounds. Veltharan crystal arrays coordinated attacks with perfect precision. But the Devourers were learning too. The largest bioship began changing its shape, growing new weapons and defenses in real time. Sir, Engineer Taemin reported with concern, the big one is adapting to our attacks. It's growing armor that absorbs our weapons. War Chief Gorthak had an idea. Human captain, what if we give it something it cannot adapt to? What if we give it our warriors? What do you mean? Krulek's ships can survive inside devourer bodies for short times. If we ram our vessels into its core and detonate our power systems, that would destroy your ships and crews, Captain Deho pointed out. Yes, but it would also destroy the devourer. My people are willing to make this sacrifice. Admiral Yoon Hye-jin's voice came over the communication system. Captain, my reinforcement fleet has arrived. We can handle the other two devourers, but that big one is still a problem. Captain Deho made a decision that would be remembered throughout galactic history. War Chief, we don't sacrifice allies, we find another way. But how, human captain? We do what Earth taught us to do. We use the environment as a weapon. Captain Deho turned to Engineer Taemin. Can you create a gravity field strong enough to pull that devourer into the system's sun? Sir, that would require all our remaining gravity mines and the power cores of several ships. Do it. All human vessels, prepare to sacrifice your power systems for one massive gravity manipulation. But War Chief Gorthak had his own idea. Human captain, if you create the gravity field, my ships will push the creature toward your trap. Krulek's vessels are stronger than yours. We can survive the pressure longer. The Veltherans made their own contribution. We will use our crystal networks to coordinate the timing perfectly, all three species working as one mind. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. 12 human ships created a massive gravity well, using every gravity mine and power core they had. 50 Krulek's vessels surrounded the largest devourer and pushed it toward the trap using their ships as living weapons. Thousands of Veltheran crystal beings linked their minds together to coordinate the entire operation with perfect timing. The massive devourer fought against the combined fleet, but it could not adapt fast enough to counter three completely different technologies working together. Slowly, inevitably, it was pulled toward the system's sun. It's working, shouted Lieutenant Shin Yawan as her fighters harassed the creature's sensory organs. The devourer is losing control. But the bioship made one last, desperate attack. Massive tentacles reached out toward the Veltheran homeworld, trying to drag the planet with it into the sun. No! War Chief Gorthak roared. We will not let it destroy more innocent lives. The Krulek's fleet threw itself between the devourer's tentacles and the crystal cities. Krulek's warriors who had spent decades as raiders and killers now gave their lives to protect a species they had been attacking just hours before. Captain Oh Sung-ho's stealth ship delivered the final blow. Using information provided by Sergeant Nam Ki-ho's boarding party, he fired a single precision shot into the devourer's brain center just as it entered the sun's corona. The massive creature died in nuclear fire, taking with it the terror that had driven the Kruleks across the galaxy for 50 years. Admiral Yoon Hye-jin's reinforcement fleet finished off the other two devourers using the same combined tactics. For the first time in galactic history, the unstoppable devourers had been stopped. In the aftermath of the battle, the three species found themselves forever changed. The Kruleks, no longer desperate refugees, became humanity's most loyal allies. The Veltherans evolved from peaceful philosophers into fierce protectors of galactic civilization, and the humans proved that their greatest strength was not their weapons or their tactics, but their ability to turn enemies into family. War Chief Gorthak stood on the bridge of his damaged flagship, looking at the tactical display showing the combined fleet. Human captain, you spoke truly about your pack. You judge by what we choose to become, not what we were. And what do you choose to become? War Chief? Protectors, like you. The galaxy has many species that need defending from real monsters. Dr. Choi Sora was treating wounded warriors from all three species in the medical bay. Humans, Kruleks, and Veltherans worked together to heal each other, sharing medical knowledge and techniques. Captain, she reported, something amazing is happening. The different species are learning from each other. We're becoming stronger, together than any of us were alone. 6 months later, the Galactic Council watched in amazement as the newest members of the Human Defense Fleet patrolled the galaxy's most dangerous regions. Former Kruleks raiders had become elite peacekeepers. Veltheran crystal cities had become mobile battle stations that could coordinate fleet actions across entire star systems, Captain Lee Dae-ho received a new distress signal from the Galactic Rim, where unknown threats were attacking peaceful colonies. He looked around his bridge at the mixed crew of humans, Kruleks and Veltherans working together. Commander Jiwoo set course for the unknown regions. "Sir, we don't know what's out there. That's what makes it interesting," Dae-ho replied with a smile. "Besides, we're not just humans anymore. We're the pack that answered when someone called for help, and the pack always answers." The Iron Mountain and its fleet jumped into hyperspace, carrying the combined might of 3 civilizations toward whatever threats awaited in the darkness between stars. Behind them, they left a galaxy that was learning an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous predators make the best protectors, and sometimes the greatest strength comes from choosing to fight together rather than alone. The Deathworlders had given their answer to the galaxy's call for help, and that answer would echo through the stars for generations to come.